been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.
What's going on, guys? Tristan and Tony back with another episode of the One Hell of a Life Outdoor Podcast.
Whoa! Let's go!
And today we're really, honestly, and this is the first time actually I have 100, and I guess this is the 129th or 130th podcast that we've had a dog trainer on. And
shame on us.
It's pretty unique, and we got some listener questions I put on our Instagram today because I knew we were going to be having Mciver on tonight. And with that being said, we're excited to have you on, man. Mciver Wallace,
we're going to talk about dogs tonight. We are going to talk about these special beasts that save cripples. At the end of the day, they save a shit ton of cripples, and they make our life so much easier.
They save a lot of steps, is what they save. They save a little bit more than just a couple cripples. They save my legs from walking a little bit, just in case I had a long night the night before.
Yeah. Oh man,
well,
yes.
Well, man, thank you for taking the time to come on tonight. And I know we freaking had to reschedule on you yesterday, and we finally got it connected. But we're genuinely excited to have you on and just learn stuff we don't know about dog training, and just kind of talk to you about your hunting journey as an outdoorsman. And with that being said, give everybody who's listening just a little bit of background on who you are, where you're from, and what kind of got into starting Mill Creek.
I'm not that interesting, but I'm your.
Well, we aren't either. We run a podcast, man.
That's
Come
right.
on now.
Well,
and I'm bald.
Well, I hang out most of the time. I hang out with most things that don't talk back. So,
well, you're trying to overcome a bald man right now, so it's pretty easy for you.
Okay. But no, Mciver Wallace, born and raised Hartsville, South Carolina. Really didn't really get into dogs professionally until really after high school. My uncle always raised dogs. He was a lab breeder. Nothing special, just your basic AKC registered home hunting dogs. And from there, that's kind of where I got my love for it. I learned at a very young age, how to care for dogs, how to raise puppies. And I fell in love with it there. Ended up, how kids are. They bounce around, do all kind of different things. So I went out and fell in love with baseball. Well, baseball was everything to me. It was my entire life. Probably there for about 13 years, man. I did nothing but play baseball. I think we spent probably close to 20 to 30 weekends on the road traveling and doing all that. So I kind of lost a lot with the dogs. I didn't see a lot of my friends and family as much. I spent it with the Ball family. So, really after that, I went to school, went to college to play. I had an injury. Injury ended up putting me out of it. Well, when I left college, I said, well, now what?
Sure.
Everything that you've lived for 14 years is gone. You can't really do anything. And I had no interest in staying in school.
Sure.
And so I ended up I came home from Florence, which is 30 minutes down the road. But anyway, I came home and I took a job with Mr. Rhett Riddle at Bay Creek Kennels. And if anybody knows that name, that's a very reputable, very high-end trainer. He's very good. Plenty of plates, plenty of grand ribbons. He's well known. And man, I stayed there for close to a year. He took me and I started cleaning kennels, and I was a bird tech. So I started at the very bottom, and man, shoot, I spent 6 months, 7 months, every day, 6 days a week in a holding blind, throwing birds.
Wow.
Cleaning kennels, taking care of dogs, throwing birds. That's what I did. And I bought into it and I loved it. Man, we went on to have some really good success that year. And later on, I started getting my hands on dogs and started learning the process and instantly fell in love with it. I'm actually sitting here. One of my best friends now, we met working there together.
Uh-huh.
He owns his own business in Ohio, Hurricane Ridge Retrievers. And it's funny because about 2 weeks ago, before he got down here, I said, man, you know, it's going to be about 5 years on the nose when you get down here. When you told me once I buy one of these dogs and get started in this is all I'm going to want to do. And here we are, and we're both on our own kennels now. So it was a real reality check. But back on topic, I left Rhett. I'd made a commitment to go guide. I was a guide at Tornado Country for a season out there in Texas.
Okay.
Went out there, man, and I had my personal dog with me, and he was a baby. He didn't get to guide or anything like that, but there for that year and a half or so after school, 2 years, I lived it up, man. I was a dog trainer and a guide. I mean, I didn't make anything, but I traveled the world, and I loved every bit of it.
Well, dude,
and I wouldn't take anything back.
That's the time to do it, man. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 28. I mean, I imagine we're close to the same, you know, within a few years of each other, and that's kind of, it's like, I don't have kids yet, and it's like, I'm kind of starting to have those conversations, and I'm like, man, I'm thankful that I've spent the time to go do shit, you know, while I can, you know?
Absolutely. And like I said, I wouldn't take anything back from that, you know. I came home from Texas, and Red had the spot filled. I mean, he's a big-time pro. He can't wait on somebody like that. But I had the commitment. I came back, and then from there, again, I was like, well, you know, what do I do? Well, I went and started working road construction. So I had my personal dog that I was training all through by myself. And traveling back and forth on the road. I did boiler work. So that took, honestly, I was home a pretty good amount. But whenever I left, it was 2-3 months at the time. And I had 2 or 3 jobs. I had 3-4 jobs that year that I'd went on. So it was real spotty with his training. I missed a lot of him. I didn't get as much of him as I wanted because it's just like Tony said earlier. They're your best friends, man. And at that point in my life, he was everything to me, and he still is. I mean, he's my kid. And being away from him like that, I decided, you know, I want to get back home, figure something out, and do something that I enjoy and gives me purpose.
Sure.
And when I got back, I had 3 or 4 guys that had seen Cash hunt and seen me train and asked me if I would take their dogs and train them. So I had probably, man, 3 or 4 dogs living in my house, wasn't making a dime off of training. I was working, I actually got a job at the propane office here in town, and I was working 9 to 5 and training 3 dogs just out of my house.
Wow.
We ended up titling all of those dogs. I still have all those dogs with me. They're all senior dogs now, working on their master titles, and hopefully this year we can get them qualified to go to the national.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was. It's been a real fun ride, man. It all came out of nowhere, and we are nowhere near where I want to be by any means. We still have. I can't spoil all of it, but there's some big things that we have in the makings and some big stuff that we're trying to accomplish, and we're nowhere where we want to be yet, but where we've come has made me very proud.
Dude, I mean, and just to hear your story from, it's so hard, like, you know, for all of us outdoorsmen, because a lot of us work a day job to be able to go do what we want to do in our free time. And the fact that you're finding a way to make it you're really kind of living your dream in a way, figuring out a way to make what you love to do your job. It's amazing. I think that's really neat.
Oh, absolutely. And everybody tells me, they're like, man, you got it made. I said, no, I don't have it made. I don't have it made by any means. And matter of fact, I've actually had my quote, and I quote this because I'm nowhere near close enough knowledge-wise or good enough to hold this title, but I've had my professional status, I've had my professional status training-wise for 2 years, running 5 to 6 dogs because they insisted on me giving me money. Darn, I can't talk. And, that's illegal. You can't take money and be an amateur. So
Sure.
I took on that responsibility, man. And ever since, I mean, I've had probably 6 to 7 dogs in for a year and a half now since I claimed and went pro, and people wanted to start bringing me dogs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still working a full-time job at the same propane office.
Wow.
So, dude, it was every morning, 5 a.m., get up, get what you need to get done in the early cool hours, done. Come home at lunch, take care of your force fetch. Evening time, you got drill work done.
Wow. Now, was it kind of nerve-wracking for you to take that leap of, like, because I know you were saying it's like pretty, like, this month, right, that you're going full-time with it?
So I actually went full-time. My first day full-time training was Monday this week.
Wow. And is it, going back to when you first got that person that wanted to pay you to do this, was it nerve-wracking to be like, to take that leap and be like, man, that's the responsibility of, like, if I screw this up, like, they're not going to be happy with me, you know what I mean? But I know you were confident in your abilities, of course, but the reason I bring it up is because it's no different than, like, what I do with the camera work, like, and what we do as a podcast or whatever. It's like, the second somebody, wants
you want to live up to it, honestly.
Yeah, you want to do you want to give your best effort,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And man, I'm gonna tell you the biggest stress part, and I tell people this all the time. Anybody that ever asks me about, man, how is it? What is it like? Do you enjoy it? Is it fun? I bet you have a ton of fun with dogs all day. I'm like, okay, stop. What you need, yeah, exactly. I'm like, what you need to understand is, number one, they're not dogs. They're people's children.
Mm-hmm.
And we treat them like they are our children, man. I mean, anything medically, anything that could be wrong, a stomach ache, a hurt paw. I mean, if one eye isn't looking right, if something hair
you're probably going to look out for things that the owner doesn't even know.
Exactly. I've pointed out so much stuff to dogs that have been dropped off to my kennel than I have done any time I've had one. Knock on wood, because I take high pride in that. But it's people don't understand the stress of keeping it completely clean all the time, 110%. I mean, I would eat out of my kennel, man.
Wow.
Like, our kennels stay pristine all the time. The dog,
I would too. I mean, if this guy's gonna eat out of the kennel, I'm eating with him.
So I mean, there's a lot more, and that's just the care side. The training part's easy. The training part's when we have fun. That's our fun time.
Now,
taking care of them and the other side of things, as far as business wise goes, that's the part that you really got to be disciplined about. And these dogs have to be on schedules, man. You can't. Everybody that just has the dog and says, well, he'll be all right, he'll free eat or eat when he wants to. Not ours. I mean, these guys are on strict schedules. They're athletes and they're family members. So it's not just playing with dogs by any means.
I like how you put that, they're athletes, because honestly, I mean, when you think about it from that aspect, it's no different than like an athlete as a human, right? Like, if you're gonna be these dogs are professionals in what they do, and if you're a professional football player, professional basketball player, whatever you're a professional at, you are eating the right things, you're training, and it's no different than what these dogs go through. I mean, that's a great way to put it.
For sure, man. They're nothing short of athletes and family members by any means.
That's awesome, man. And I mean, from a training aspect, like, and I know, like, literally, when I tell you I know 0% about training a duck dog, I don't know anything. I mean, how, like, I've heard of these different names in the training industry. It's like, how did you come up with do you have a method that's kind of like you've taken in these other people who have taught you, you've read books, like, just kind of go into that, man. I don't even know how to ask that question, but hopefully that makes sense. Like, how do you train these dogs, like, to do what you want them to do?
Man,
might be a loaded question, I guess, but
it is. It's a loaded question, and if you boil it down to how do you do it, I'm going to tell you right now. You can ask me. You can ask the guy sitting over there by the fire. You can ask any professional, amateur, anybody how to train a dog, everybody's answer is going to be a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like we were talking today while we were training. One of our clients asked us a question. He said, well, how come this dog does this and this dog, you don't have to worry about it? And the immediate answer was, it's the blanket answer question, or blanket answer to every question. It's all dog dependent. But yeah, absolutely. Everybody bounces ideas off of each other.
Mm-hmm.
There is no right or wrong way to train dogs. It's just, think about teaching a third grader math.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some of them are better at doing it with you doing it on a whiteboard.
Mm-hmm.
Some are better doing it, writing it down.
Sure.
Some are better doing it with objects. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So every dog it's just like humans. They all learn at different ways, different paces, they're all different learners. Every dog has a personality.
Yeah.
So that's the best answer that I can give you as far as how do you train them.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And kind of why we're on this topic, we just started this like 3 weeks ago where we want to build more of like a community around the podcast where people can like submit their questions and things like that. And when I started it, I told them, some weeks it's going to be like just questions that me and my dad answer. Some weeks I might give like a prompt of like, hey, this is who we're having on this week. Like, you guys have any questions? So I just posted on our Instagram, and actually I got 3 different questions from different people about, training a dog. So if you're cool with that, I'd love to just run those by you.
Yeah, come on.
So the first one's from Chris Seaton in Oklahoma. And he said, what's the best thing to do when force fetching doesn't work?
When force fetching does not work. That is also a pretty loaded question. There's arguably force fetch is one of the most important parts of what we do, because it leads back into what we call Powell work and pattern T and everything like that to teach dogs casting.
Mm-hmm.
Darn, I really kind of stumped me here. Hang on one second. Let me think about this for just a second here.
Well, it's hard to put you on blast like that.
Yeah, it's so. All right, I had to ask that question to Ian as well for a second.
Oh, you're good.
The answer truly to it is force fetch doesn't work. You're probably not doing force fetch correctly. So it just kind of depends on, and there's also, that's dog dependent as well. There are dogs that I have seen, and some dogs are not force fetchable.
Mm-hmm.
Some dogs that we call them soft, they can't take the pressure. They don't understand or can't comprehend most retrievers want something in their mouth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, when you're forcing them to do it, some of them have an attitude where it's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I don't care. And then again, it comes back.
Duck hunters, y'all need to check out Williamson Outfitters down on the Florida Panhandle this season. They offer some of the best coastal duck hunting and inshore fishing east of the Mississippi, targeting species like redheads, bluebills, buffleheads, and canvasbacks, just to name a few. From the cast and blast packages for those who love to fish and hunt, to adrenaline-pumping layout boat hunts that get you up close and personal, Williamson Outfitters has it all. And when the day's done, unwind in comfort at one of the 2 amazing lodges designed to make you feel right at home after a successful day out on the water. Mention the One Hell of a Life podcast when booking and get 10% off your booking. Spots are filling up fast, so call or text Captain Chris today at 850-251-8650 or visit www.floridaducks.com.
Some dogs just aren't retrievers. Some dogs don't want things in their mouth. German Shorthairs. I've heard horror stories of force fetching German Shorthairs because they're not retrievers. They don't want to hold stuff. But the answer to that question, honestly, the best one I could give to it, and there could be somebody else that hears this and says, no, that's wrong. But 9 times out of 10, if force fetch isn't working, it's probably being done incorrectly.
Okay. Well, good to know.
Well, and explain to somebody that doesn't understand, what does force fetching mean? Like,
to somebody who's listening to this who's a deer hunter or whatever.
They're new and they're
Right.
like, what does this mean? Like, why is this so important?
Well, I mean, force fetch is exactly what it sounds like. I'm going to force you to pick this bumper up or whatever it could be. We start with paint rollers. I start with paint rollers. And all it is, man, it's your dog's going to hold whatever he has retrieved until you tell him to give it to you.
Mm.
He's not going to drop it in the middle of the field. He's not going to bring it back and drop it at your feet where you still have to bend down, or drop it in the water and you got to get your hands wet. That's his job. That's the whole retriever part. That's force fetch. Force fetch, to be broken down, is pick this up, hold it until I take it. When you take it, you'll get another one.
Now, and this is one of the most, like, correct me if I'm wrong, if you had to put, and this is a loaded question too, but I want to try to keep this as simple as possible. Force fetching, I hear so much in the beginning. Can you kind of just, like, real quickly say, like, and maybe if you say that I'm asking a question that, Tony, I'm going to punch you in the face for, then that's fine too. All right.
No, man.
But when we're walking through the progression of this dog to get him where we want, force fetching is one of the, isn't it, if I'm wrong, one of the basic things that you want to start to instill in your puppy?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Because
right, talk about why that's important.
Well, I mean, there's some dogs, I can attest to this. I have one of the best dogs in my kennel right now. He's a 3-year-old black male. He wanted absolutely nothing to do with live birds, dead birds, any kind of birds. Bumpers wise, was the best dog on my truck. He could go pick up any
He was
mark.
great at shooting the target, but not hunting the deer.
Exactly. Precisely. So when we get to force fetch, now we're like, okay, I know you don't like this, but for you to do your job, you have to be able to pick up birds. Say we get a dog out there that runs, he's super excited, goes up here to pick that mark up. He's like, no, I'm going to leave it laying here. How are we going to get him to do it?
Oh, man, does that piss you off?
Yeah, I mean, he's already run out there. He's already run out there 150 yards. Now he's going to come back and sit beside you, and now you have to go get the dog. How much sense does that make?
I mean, I have seen people with their dogs go, well, that's just what he's doing today, and he or she, and
right, exactly.
I got to go get that duck. You know,
exactly. And people look at force fetch in a bad way. There's a lot of people that say force fetch is bad. I don't want to do force fetch. Okay, it's just like your mom forcing you to clean your room.
Right.
It's your responsibility. That's what you're held accountable to do. Do it. You won't be in detention.
So
you won't be down.
This is really what this really is the difference of, like, when I grew up, my dad said, I'm going to bust your ass with this switch. Or,
there you go.
Or somebody going, well, they just need to go into timeout.
Now, listen,
bullshit
hey,
on
I'm
that.
going to tell you something funny. And force fetch came up one day in one of our training groups. And an old man we were training with one day, he had just caught on to what Gen Z was. Like, he started getting what Gen Z meant.
Uh-huh.
And how everything's so soft and everything. Well, force fetch came up, and I forget who it was. Somebody had a dog or was telling a story about a dog that wasn't force fetch, and he just real slightly out the corner of his mouth said, "That's a damn Gen Z dog." And dude, we laughed about that for an hour.
Dude, that honestly is so funny.
This is great.
Well,
no, but those different pieces. So let's, like, if we could break them up into stages, could you break down, like, here's the stages that your dog is going to go through? Force fetch, one. Maybe the one is creating a relationship with your dog, right? Like, I'm going to have this dog by my side day by day or whatever it is. can you kind of break down, like, what are those stages? Like, can you break it down that way?
Yeah, I mean, so arguably, the puppy process, the dog process starts when you go to pick out a pup.
Okay.
You need to do your research. What do these dogs come from? Where are they coming from? What are their parents like? How are their demeanors? What are they like when they're hunting? Do the research on these dogs. Get back, do your digging, find the one you want. Okay? Find something that's going to fit you. That's step one. Okay? Then you get home, you get him at 8 weeks. I do a puppy head start program. And all this is pretty much treat training the dog to teach himself to get what he wants. Mm-hmm. Which is the food in your hand. And we start with that on a little pallet. And we're not saying anything. We're just getting him to move his body.
Right.
When he moves his body in the right way, we feed him. When he gets up here, we feed him. And we continue that process on up until they're 6 months. Now's where we hit the part where Tony wants to know about.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I just had dinner. Got a little burp.
Oh, here you go, man.
I might do that same thing off of Bush Light here in a minute. Sorry.
Yeah, I might have one of those in my hand, Tony. I might just be blaming it on the Mexican food. Anyway, so 6 months normally. Now, every dog, like I said, they learn different. Sometimes you have to mix match. Sometimes dogs have to be treated differently. But a normal dog that comes into my kennel, the first thing we're doing is obedience. On-leash obedience. The very first thing we're doing. Because I want you to know how my body moves. I want to know how your body moves. And if you don't know here, heel, sit, stay, which we don't teach stay, place, then we're going to teach those right there in obedience.
Right. And this is that 6 months old.
Yep. Exactly.
And now to pause you for a minute, the reason why I want to say at that stage of life is I learned something very interesting when I was probably about Tristan's age with the dog I had, and is because I failed so much as an owner. Not a bird dog or anything, but just understanding what is a teachable dog. And this guy had this revolutionary book about you can't teach an infant how to hold a spoon. Okay? You can't just rip the bottle out of a baby and say, start eating green beans. All right? It doesn't work that way. So the dogs themselves have to be at an age where they can accept this. They can learn. Right? Or am I not right?
So to an extent, man, arguably, I will argue with anybody until I'm blue in the face on this fact. I think puppies begin to learn, as soon as they start getting weaned off, which, they're born with the natural ability to, know where mom is, know where to feed and stuff like that. But once they start getting weaned off, now they're starting to problem solve. Dogs begin to learn as soon as you introduce them into the world, how to solve
they're
problems.
Processing. Exactly.
And that's what makes good dogs in this world, honestly. That's what it boils down to, is problem-solving dogs.
Mm.
That's what it comes down to. And it's just like a hunting dog. All right, okay. That bird landed there. He's not there anymore. I smell him. All right, now let's solve this problem. Where'd he go? Okay, so it's all problem-solving. Gotcha. But anyways, that's hearsay, in one ear, out the other with some people. Mm-hmm. Some people tell you leaving puppies for forever. But that's like I said, everybody does a little different.
Now, do you see, and I don't want to divulge any secrets of what you do to pick out a target dog.
No, everybody deserves to have a good dog.
Well, and I feel like this is so loaded too. Like when you said, what you looking for in a dog, all right? That's different to every single owner, and which can be super complicated, I imagine, as a trainer or a breeder, because at the end of the day, we just want to hit the ball, right?
Right.
I want them to hit the ball, and I'm not looking for anything other than my work dog that hits the ball, But interesting enough, something that we got off of Kade this year. or last year actually, with his dog, was he said, I just want a dog that I can, I can say, hey, this is the direction I want you to go. And I want him to have what I call innate ability to smell.
Yeah, use his nose.
I want him to use his nose. But that's what he was looking for. I don't want to drill down what exactly he was looking for, but I'm saying this owner, Kade, that I'm using as an example, was looking like this is what they want out of a dog, right?
Right.
But that also has to do with that dog's ability, right? I mean, like, can they get downwind? Do they have the ability do they have the senses to just naturally do that?
As far as wind goes, man, there's very, 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 very few dogs that teach themselves to win.
Well, this dog, I will say this, I will give it up to Tucker. That dog, I've seen it numerous times where he will position himself downwind to smell that bird and go find it.
Right. Now, I say that lightly when I say teach themselves the wind. As far as it goes marking wise here and in a hunting scenario, when those dogs get so amped up, it becomes second nature because they've done it so many times, and it really comes with age. So I don't want to say that it takes not every dog teaches themselves to win. To an extent, they do.
Yeah.
But it comes way later down. If you're talking progression and stuff like that, that comes later on. That's not something that just pops up. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, like we witnessed Delta, which I know who you're familiar with. Colin's dog. We were on a spec hunt about 3 years ago, and this cripple went down, and it went down so far away that I didn't even see it where it went down. And Colin said, I guess I'm going to send her out. We'll see what she can do. And
it was on a spec hunt, wasn't it?
It was on a spec hunt.
Yeah.
And I want to say it was like 600 or 700 yards.
It was something, yeah.
And,
I was going to say 500.
But she got so far away that I remember the delay with the whistle because he got so far away and he would back. And then you 1001, 1002, she'd hear it, and there she'd go. And I was like, dude, this is one of the most coolest things that I have ever witnessed. I mean, and she found that damn bird and brought that thing back. I was like, wow, that was just so incredible.
Yeah, I'm very excited to have Delta. Colin has done a phenomenal job with her. She's a great dog, man. I enjoy hunting over her. And I'm ready to stand over her training wise, man. I'm ready to see what we can do with her over here. She is top notch.
I can't wait for you to tell Colin everything he's been doing wrong with her. Love you, Colin.
Well, I'm going to tell you, me and Colin have some really good dog conversations sometimes. And Colin, most of the time, can still call me on my BS on a dog. Colin's good. Don't let it slip by you. Colin Rossler's pretty good with a dog, man.
Well, what's funny is, there's no doubt in my mind he's good with it because of the way Delta is. But it's funny just outside looking in how different people, are with dogs and the way he is with Delta. I know you can see this. You've probably hunted with Colin more than we have, but I mean, he's strict on Delta. Dude, he don't mess around.
No, I felt like my best friend was getting his ass whooped in front of me. Like the first time that Delta effed up in front of us, I was like, me and Tristan were looking at each other like, this is awkward.
Yeah, he don't play it.
Dude, like one time he's like, Delta, and he wasn't being overly strict.
No.
But there was a situation, I can't remember what it was, and she didn't do, and it was basics, if I remember, she didn't do because she didn't want to that day or whatever. And he goes, your bitch ass is going in the kennel. And I'm like, well, who's going to pick him up? He goes, I guess I am, gosh damn it. And he goes, she's got to learn. And she sat there, and what I thought was neat, and this is what I really got out of it, was that he took it away.
Mm-hmm.
He took it away from what she loves. And when he did the takeaway from her, we all hear that in sales, like, do the takeaway. People want what they can't have.
Mm-hmm.
This damn dog responded because she couldn't go do what she wanted to do, but she didn't do it right. And Colin was correcting her. And I just thought it was so neat. I captured that. I really did. I saw that and I was like, why is he putting her in the kennel? You know, I'm like, she loves this. And he goes, that's why I'm putting her in a kennel, because she loves it, you know?
Yeah, and that's a prime example of what they call reverse momentum. And Colin's really good with it with her, man. I'll tell you, if you look at it now, like if you hunt with me, Colin, any of these guys that run dogs a lot and have our own personal dogs, 9 times out of 10, when they do screw up, we can most of the time just look at them a certain way at this point.
Dude, I used to do the same thing with Tristan. I'm not lying.
True story. I learned I didn't want to get my ass beat,
dude,
after about twice.
Dude. But I would tell people, like, they'd be like, how did you raise such a nice young man? I go, I didn't. I got lucky. And every once in a while, I'd look at him a certain way, and he'd be like, yeah, I ain't going to fuck with him. You know? So.
Yeah. And I'll tell you another thing, man. These dogs, when we spend the time that we do with them, majority of them, we use our voice more to inquire discipline.
Yeah.
But everybody sees us put e-collars on dogs. We teach with e-collars at distance that it's nothing like it's made out to be. And I know there's been a lot of that stuff.
No, she
around.
retrieved that goose that day with no e-collar at all.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was all whistle and hand signals and voice. Right. I just couldn't believe it, dude. It blew my mind.
And she's sharp. I mean, and eventually you get those older dogs, man, they get really good at it. They get seasoned. I'm scared to know how many birds Delta's picked up. I don't know how many it is, but I know she probably picks up there for a little bit. She was picking up the amount of birds in a season that my personal dog will probably pick up in his life.
Yeah, no, she was picking up hundreds.
And before we get down the rabbit hole, because, I mean, me and my dad are having a blast right now, just running stuff by you.
It was like kid on candy day.
But before we get too down the line, I do want to give a shout out to Colin, because, you know, when we first hunted with Kade for the first time, we hunted with one of his guys, Mason, in that morning, and then that afternoon we hunted with Colin and Kade and went on a goose hunt.
Delta.
Delta
her very first year. One of her first hunts.
Yeah, and this was in 2020, right? When we 2020.
2020.
It was January of 2020.
Yeah,
and then, you know, it's like full circle to where we are in this podcast tonight, and we gotta talk about this. You know, Delta Waterfowl Expo was in Little Rock a couple years ago, and Colin and Kelsey, are they engaged now, fiance? Or
oh no,
I don't know, but
you already created that.
Did I just?
You created your own stumbling block.
Shit. All right. Well, Colin and Kelsey, they're together. I don't. Forgive me if I'm wrong.
Hey, Kelsey.
Oh, God, I'm going to get a call about that later.
Kelsey, the old man.
I just wanted to get it right.
No, I'm going to get something right. Kelsey, I saw the anniversary that you posted of you and Colin the other day. I saw it. The old man saw it.
All right. What I will say is we're putting a little pressure on Colin, I guess. But and I didn't mean to do that intentionally, by the way.
Oh, that was great.
I genuinely did not know. But anyway,
Colin getting bitched at by Kelsey tonight.
Y'all gotta stop. Y'all gotta stop that. He's got to get his dog here for training.
So anyway, we go to we're going to the Delta Waterfowl Expos in Little Rock, and Colin and Kelsey were living in Little Rock at the time, and he's like, "Oh, well, y'all could just crash at our place." We're like, "All right, whatever. We'll just crash on the floor." And then he's like, "My buddy's coming from South Carolina, Mciver," and we're like, "Sweet, all right." So we all ended up going out that night, and that's honestly what led to this podcast tonight.
Absolutely,
so that's why
dude.
I wanted to say shout out to Colin. And we had probably
Dude, all right, hang on.
too many beers that night.
Let me jump off just for a second real quick. I don't know if y'all have heard this story or not. Okay,
I don't know.
Let me tell you a little bit about Little Rock.
Hold on, let me get a beer.
Yeah, this right here is pretty funny. Let me know when he's back. He probably had to go. He probably had to go to the shop and get a beer or something. Where's his beer at?
It's here. It's about 17 feet away from the podcast table, so he's gonna be back.
Oh, I'm right here, baby. Let's go. I ain't missing this for nothing.
Okay, so here's a pretty funny story about Little Rock, and I'm sure y'all saw it on me when I got there. So 3 days prior to Delta, what was that? A year ago? 2 years ago now?
2 years ago now, yeah.
Okay, so I had just turned 21 3 days prior to Delta.
Okay.
What a
I got
blessing.
to right.
Be like, Mom, I'm getting in trouble tonight.
Well, I've
just
been
call
working,
Colin.
I'd been working pretty good up there at the propane. I was getting me some overtime hours because I knew I was going to Delta. Okay. Well, I get into the airport and I'm 21. First time really drinking in the airport. I never had a fake ID, believe that or not. But
wow.
First time ever drinking in an airport.
Tristan had two.
I almost caught a felony over one.
Nice.
True story. But please continue.
Yeah,
Well,
we don't want to have a told you so moment.
Right.
I'm like, why the
Well,
hell are you doing that? I'll buy your beer. No, I did not say that. To be official, he was 21 when I said that. All right, go ahead. It's in the teens that morning, and maybe you're chasing ducks or geese. But now it's September and it's 85 degrees and you're hunting early teal or geese. As a waterfowler, you need dependable weather protection that will not break the bank. Founded in 1996, Frog Togs is not only the leader in breathable wader technology, but a company you can depend on to keep you warm and dry, head to toe, no matter your hunting environment. Stay bone dry by using discount code ZD315 for 15% off not only your first purchase, like most discount codes, but how about every single purchase you make from now until December 31st, 2024?
Sorry.
I get through TSA, and the first thing I do, I want me something to eat. I go down to, I think it's the Econ course in Charlotte, Whiskey River. I go in there and I get, just a basic chicken sandwich with one beer.
Yeah.
Pay my tab. I look down. That was $35 for a fried chicken sandwich and a beer. I said, "My God, I got to get the hell out of here." This is the first place I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
Okay. So I go. Y'all know how shitty the weather was that week.
Yes.
Okay. So I get down to my gate.
It was hotter than a son of a bitch, dude.
And this bitch says delayed. I said, What time does it say we board? And it's an hour later. All right. Well, I go back up here to Captain Jack's bar. I sit there at Captain Jack's bar and I get in a conversation with a guy that works for Club Card. He is flying to Augusta National, sitting there waiting to go to Augusta. His flight's in 2 hours. So we're sitting there and we're drinking. He hadn't offered to pay for shit of mine. So, of course, I'm not paying for none of his.
Right.
So we're just sitting there drinking whiskey for whiskey, just sitting there shooting the shit, talking about golf and golf carts, whatever the hell. I continue to get texts continuously, delayed. About the fifth whiskey, this dude gets up and he's going to his gate. I'm like, hell, I'm losing my buddy. Hey, bud, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Augusta. So I can't get to Arkansas from there. I have a good one. I get another text, delayed again.
Oh my God.
By this point, it's freaking 9:30, 9:45 at night in the Charlotte airport. And one of my best buddies now, love this guy to death. His name's Alex Airwood. He actually, I think he works for Light Boots or something like that. I'm not sure. Met him on the flight from there. He's from Shelby, North Carolina. I get to the gate, and I am trashed at this point. I am broke. It was like a $400 tab to have 6 whiskeys in the freaking airport. It was
Right. You feel like you're better off at a strip club.
Exactly. Dude, I get to the gate, and I'm out of it. Well, this dude looks at me, Alex now, that I now know, looks at me and goes, "You going to Little Rock?" Well, I look up at the sign, and I said, if this bitch ain't going to Little Rock, I'm going wherever the hell it's putting wheels down. So we get on the airplane. This is a long story, by the way.
I feel a little Dirks Bentley on this one.
That's a good one.
Exactly. We get on the airplane. He orders a damn Jack Daniels. I'm like, well, shit, yeah, hand me one too. Well, she tells us it's free because we've had 5 delays. So I get 6 of them. We landed in Little Rock. Dude, we landed in Little Rock.
And this is all before we met you?
Yes, this is the night you met me.
No,
This is the night,
I would have never guessed.
I would have swore to God you were like undercover Spider-Man or something, dude.
No,
dude, like not even a chance. Like,
absolutely not.
wow.
Well, it gets better. So this guy that I just met like an hour and a half ago when this fucking plane took off, I'm asking him, I'm like, where are you going? He's like, I'm going to meet the Higdon boys down at the piano bar. Well, that's where y'all were at.
Right.
Oh,
yeah,
yes.
that's right. Yeah.
Yes.
I just asked this random dude, I was like, shit, you mind if I hop in the Uber with you? He's like, yeah, come on. Dude, we get in this freaking Cadillac Escalade XL. And these two people driving this thing, though, I mean, it's quiet, it's awkward. They're just kind of mumbling to themselves. I'm like, this dude's about to stick a gun in our face. We hang a first left out of the airport, and I hear beer bottles clash together.
Oh, God.
I'm like, ain't no damn way. He's got beer in here. I said, Bo, you got some beer? He said, man, I keep a cooler full back there on ice. He said, there's Ultra and Miller. I said, how much are they? He said, $1.50 a piece. Dude, I sat in the back of this Cadillac Escalade and drank beer until I got to the piano bar with mini bottles still in my boots from the flight.
What a legendary story, dude.
Dude, I had no idea.
No idea. I mean, I figured you just came from freaking Sunday school. I mean,
No.
Bro, you just walked up like the most like balanced person. Like, I mean, like, all right, they just came, took a shower, and showed up.
Well, we were probably half lit by the time we got there. So,
yeah, we were half lit.
Everybody was except Kelsey. Kelsey was the only one sober enough to drive. And I don't think she had a drink.
Well,
God bless her.
Well, I can't help but think about the fact that, you know, whenever I'm an older guy and I see my son have a moment of weakness, it makes me feel good. It does. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just like, sometimes I'm just like, yeah. Guess what, little fucker? Well, pardon my French, but we drank some liquor.
Oh, dude,
that night we drank some.
I hope. I don't think I got into that. I just think I found the Miller Lights pretty heavy.
Well, we found everything under the sun that Arkansas had to offer that night, and
well, y'all didn't find it too much because I woke up at 4:00 when you assholes decided to go back to Georgia, waking the whole apartment complex up. I'm like, Jesus Christ!
Well, no, that was the night that we drank a lot. Was I guess that was
our first night.
That was Friday night, I'm guessing. And then Saturday.
Yeah, that was the night before I got there.
And then Saturday was the expo that you got there Saturday night? Or no? Did we get there Saturday? When did we get there?
We did.
I don't know.
Saturday night, did one day and turned and burned and drove right back.
So we got there.
We got hammered. We drove back crying to ourselves about how bad we felt for however many hours it took and said,
No, I know. I woke up kind of hungover and went to. I remember feeling hungover going to.
So our first morning that we went
was Saturday.
We woke up and Tristan said, "You know that feeling when you're just like, I think I have to burp," and you're like, "Oh," you're like, "Oh boy," and he's like,
"Oh yeah, I threw up."
We ate some McDonald's. And McDonald's, he wasn't having it, and that's the point.
Dude, I didn't get that bad.
No, that's the point I'm trying to make. Is he was suffering and I was not. And
well, dude, y'all missed it. So you missed it. The next night, in the piano bar. You know,
That's
the club.
what I
So
heard. The next night was like the incredible. We were
So
there
that-
Saturday, Tristan.
We went to the
Saturday
expo
night.
Saturday. We got in Friday night.
We missed everything Saturday night.
Yeah,
What everybody told
that's
us. Everybody told us, dude. We missed everything Saturday night.
The last, so what? I'm not sure if this is exactly how it went. I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure the guy that owns Reaper Boats.
Yeah.
I don't know his name, but I'm pretty sure he bought all the booths in the lower club level and gave every booth like 2 bottles of champagne.
What?
Yeah, we had a freaking blast in there, dude.
That's
Bo
awesome.
Brooks was kicked up. Bo Brooks was in there. A couple of guys that I used to guide with worked for Higdon. Dude, we had a large time. We had a big time.
Well, dude, I gotta imagine every Delta Expo's got to be this way now. But the thing we loved about it, of course, is meeting all the new people and people you've talked to on social media that you finally meeting them in person. But you really never know who you're gonna run into. Like, I mean, down at some bar when we were down there, their 24/7 hunt guys were down there, and
we just had Ashley on that we met there.
Yeah, and you just never literally, I mean, you never knew anybody in the waterfowl industry is going to be around that spectrum, so you might just run into them.
That's right.
Well, dude, I'm gonna tell you one of my favorite people to go talk to whenever I see them out at something like that, and it's Jeff Stanfield.
Jeff
Stanfield.
I'm not familiar with Jeff.
Jeff Stanfield. Y'all need to listen to the Big Honker podcast, man.
I've heard
They
about
put
it.
out
I've definitely heard of that.
They put out some really great content. So they were in Knox City, which is south of where I was guiding out of in Quanah.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't never run across any of their guys or anything like that, but a lot of their stuff I can relate to, like where it happens and like when their guides do some funny shit. Most of the time it's at the same places we did some funny shit.
Yeah.
But no, Jeff, man, he's a really down to earth guy, man. He'll talk to you. He's on Stanfield Hunting Outfitters. He's got a lot to do with Boss. Just an all around great guy. I mean, he's awesome to sit there and talk to, and he'll talk to you as long as you want to talk, man.
That's awesome. You know, one of my probably one of my most cherished moments of that turn and burn that we did, and we honestly just did it because we were like, dude, we're like Tristan and I both were without jobs. I think it was right before that, but we didn't have. I mean, we're just like everybody else out there, right? We just don't have the funds to do this right now, and I'm like, dude, we can't not go, you know?
Right.
And we just said, all right, well, divorce or not, we're going. And so we went and did it. And it was honestly, and I'm even comparing this to my professional career in recent years, it was one of the most impactful hour by hour, minute by minute amount of time that I have put into anything in a long time. That we went out of that place hungover, driving. I mean, we were freaking on a red eye. Red eye drive.
Don't say too much, Tony.
Yeah, a red eye drive, which mostly includes me sleeping and Tristan driving.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Don't convict yourself.
But bro, we spent. I'm not kidding you. I don't know how many hours and weeks and days after that going, this was one of the best things we've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
dude, it was awesome.
Bro, the people's hands that we shook to be able to meet. We're such a tight community in the waterfowl industry, aren't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I mean, we really are. And, you know, to get out there and to meet you and I mean, to meet people like Godwin or freaking Ramsey Russell and multiple times, you know, Billy and Doc Duck. And do you want coffee that doesn't suck? Get the Duck. Dirty Duck coffee is made specifically for the waterfowl enthusiast. Enjoy flavors like Morning Wood, Dark Dynasty, Cinnamon Teal Snickerdoodle, and First Flight to unlock the flavor that you'll enjoy in the blind for years to come. Our friends at Dirty Duck Coffee Company are now offering all Zero Duck 30 followers a 15% discount when you use code ZeroDuck15 on your next order. No,
all these guys, you know, they have really inspired where we are today. Just sit there and everybody's just so legit and real that's in the main space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can call out somebody that's a fake real quick in the waterfowl industry, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're not like genuine, and I'm talking about from dogs to equipment to whatever it is, it's going to be tested. It's going to be true. And if it's not quality, you're going to find out about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that people that just take such a genuine approach to being authentic, I think is what I'm looking for, are the people that just really do so well in this industry, and they're just being good people and producing a good product or service or whatever it is.
Well, I mean, nothing's Hollywood, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's always something you hear about everybody, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I'm sure, I mean, that goes with anything.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, you talk to these people and get yourself, you know, meet them yourself. There's a lot of guys out there, man, that you really just realize, hey, they're just like me.
Yep.
That's my big thing, dude. Like, I won't form an opinion off somebody from somebody else telling me about it. You know, I want to meet them.
Oh,
Exactly.
And speak the truth on that. You know, I'm showing my age here a little bit, but it's a little easier for people in my age to take the first thing that you see and throw a judge on it, because I grew up in the world of what you saw on the news was the truth. Okay? Well, I've had to learn.
And you are old.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
really. I mean, if it was on 60 Minutes, that was the truth. You know what I mean? And I've grown into this world, and y'all are so great about it. And the younger culture is just snooping everything. You know what I mean? Like, still today, I even try to be better about it, because I'll send Tristan something, and I'll be like, look at that. And he'll be like,
That's bullshit.
yeah, no. He'll basically make me feel like I need to go tuck underneath a blanket because I'm so dumb for not realizing this, right? But to him, it's just like, bam, you know.
Well, I could tell by seeing something, and I'll look at the comments and just.
But I'm trying to be you.
Right.
I'm trying to be you, Tristan. I'm trying to be that observed, and I'll try to like, man, I feel like I've vetted this. And I'll send it to Tristan, and he'll be like, Dad, are you stupid? And I'll be like, my gosh, that little shit. But the whole point of what I'm saying is that, and Tristan's been probably the biggest staple behind what we do here about this.
Right.
And that is authenticity. Being authentic.
Well, you find something you're passionate about, man.
Be
You don't have to
authentic. We are not going to do something to get a view. We're not going to do something to get a like. We're going to be who we are, and we're going to be authentic.
Well,
And I respect you so much for that, son, because I was not that good at that when I was your age, to be quite honest.
And let me tell you real quick where that comes from. It's, you know, when it comes to, we started this thing because we love, the whole reality of hunting is why we started Zero Duck 30 and Zero Buck 30. We just wanted to put the reality of it, because my dad, to his credit, you know, realized with hunting shows and stuff like that, it was always like you shoot the 170-inch deer on the last night, you know. Of course,
it's always the last night of the hunt,
you know. And he started pointing out that, you know, a lot of young people getting into the sport, you know, if they don't shoot a limit of ducks, if they don't shoot that big deer, you know, they might just screw it, you know.
No, not might. They were.
They
just got out.
I'm gonna start golfing, you know, or whatever. And you know, that's kind of what prompted it. And of course, being a father-son, like, we just wanted to kind of record our memories and stuff like that. But when we started putting out content, the duck stuff kind of just took off a little bit more than the deer hunting stuff. And I've always felt like I'll say this just up front, our expertise, and I'm not going to say we're experts, but just the stuff we know about has always lied in the deer hunting realm.
Oh, I know.
But
I know what I'm doing.
because of the way duck hunting is, but you know,
No, I
because,
do.
Speak for yourself, asshole.
yeah.
but hey, you ask me about duck hunting, I'll be like, no.
Well, and because of the way duck hunting has been over the last 7 years, the duck hunting pages and stuff like that kind of took off a little bit more. So we just kind of we only have so many
It was
resources.
the avenue.
So we just started pouring more effort into the duck hunting stuff, and honestly, we were having a little bit more fun with that at the time because we've grown up, or we've deer hunted our whole life, and the duck hunting stuff was new and fun, and we were just kind of sharing like our real stuff as we, you know, grew onto it. But the whole point of this is that I never wanted to portray, and you know, you either, you know, but I've always been like a hawk on it. I never want to be like, oh, I know more than the next guy because I know I don't know anything.
Well, and I'm always I'm always like trying to, like, what's going to be the next thing that I'm so passionate about what we do. I'm just like, if enough people knew about what we did, dude, we would be huge. But it's not the huge part that I'm looking for. It's not the notoriety. It's not the money. It's not any of that. It's the message.
Yeah.
And that's what it is to me as an older guy now. I mean, I have to accept that I'm 52 years old, and if I don't instill this, the most important thing I will do with every word that comes out of my mouth is instill the right, instill the love, instill the passion of why we do what we do.
Yeah.
And I think it's really three pieces. It's love. Love for what you do is a deep thing.
Mm-hmm.
Passion is something that comes with, you can't predict that with somebody. You can't create, this is like in business all my life. I was like, I will take somebody with passion over the it's 6-year degree.
It's no different than what you're doing, Mciver. Like, I mean, if you didn't love and have the passion for what you're doing,
you wouldn't have the results.
You wouldn't have been working a 9 to 5 and having dogs in your house and working them as, you know, when you got your time in the evening, you know?
No.
Yeah,
no, and I don't want to like really go down this path too deep, but the thing is that only the most passionate people in whatever you do make the biggest statement.
Mm-hmm.
And whether you are, what's the young man's name, Tristan, with the red beard and everything, that I was selling my soul.
Oliver Anthony.
Oliver Anthony. He didn't need any marketing.
Mm-hmm.
He spoke his soul,
mm-hmm.
and people connected with that.
100%.
And he's where he's at because of the authenticity of who he was. That's all we're looking to do with what we're doing here is that, you know, there's way more than shooting limits and shooting antlers. There's way more. You know, I saw a video of a kid that made a button buck do a flip the other day, and his dad giggled like a little. I mean, like he was in grade school. You know, that's what it's all about.
100%. You know, Mciver, one thing I want to dive into tonight before, and I got a couple more listener questions I want to get to at some point too, but
sorry we went on the rant. that was good shit though. That was good shit.
Somebody recording this?
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the things I wanted to get to, man, is, you know, being from you're in South Carolina, right? Yeah. So being an East Coast duck hunter like we are, it's not.
There's no such thing.
It's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
So, man, when it comes to duck hunting, you know, how did you kind of find that love for duck hunting? And I mean, obviously, you've kind of like we have, spent time out in the Mississippi Flyway and to kind of have that success and stuff. But it's hard being an East Coast duck hunter, man.
It is, dude.
So what kind of got that passion for you?
I mean, when I was a kid, I think my first duck hunt I ever went on, I was probably 5 years old.
Uh-huh.
And it wasn't anything major. I mean, it was just your typical walk in the wood duck swamp, get in the boat, go over here, shoot you 3 or 4, and head on back.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just, it was something that I got to enjoy with different people outside of baseball. You want me to be honest with you?
Mm-hmm.
That's really what I lit a fire to doing that stuff, man, because it. And we say it's not competitive. It absolutely is competitive.
Right.
Because I want to beat you to the best spot. I want to beat you to the X. I want to kill them.
Right.
And that's the beauty of public land. But besides the point, it was all it was competitive for me. We went and had fun. We got to enjoy it. And don't think that I'm saying that as in we didn't enjoy God's creation in the outdoors, because absolutely. And we all say that and talk about different things and post file pictures. But man, it really was. I mean, it was my escape. If I wasn't playing baseball, we were hunting. That's what we did.
Right.
So that's really where it got burning in me. Now my uncle, again, like really coming back to the dogs again. They used to go out of town and go to Arkansas and stuff, and I'd see the pictures flipping through the books, man. And I always wanted to go. And then when I was 8 years old, I took my first trip to Arkansas. We hunted by Amita, believe it or not.
Wow.
That was whenever you could public land guide. And we were with a guy, I forget his name, man. It's been so long, but we hunted with him for 2 years, and we bounced around, guided here, guided there. And then with my dad's job, that's all he does is boiler work, and he's worked his way up through the system, and he has some really good friends now. Well, we started going out to Lake Village, Arkansas.
Uh-huh.
A little private club they had, private timber, like 6 private fields, real super, super nice setup, man. And it all comes back to the dogs here as well. We hunted with a guy by the name of Mr. Reese Sullivan, an older gentleman. The man he hadn't missed a single day of duck season in 22 years.
Are you kidding
at that
me?
point? No, I'm not lying.
That's a blessed human being right there to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm not lying to you. He didn't miss a day for 22 years. He's got lanyards upon lanyards upon lanyards full of just mallard bands.
Wow.
So cut that a little short. Mr. Reese had the best 2 dogs that I'd ever seen up to this point in my life. At 10 years old, nowadays, I say nowadays, like it changed a whole ton, but I want to say those dogs were HRCH dogs. And that was the first time I'd ever really seen dogs handle and cast and run multiple birds. And man, from there, that old man, Mr. Reese, man, let me tell you something. If it wouldn't have been for him, shoot, just those 3 years I spent beside him for a week at the time, man, I learned so much. I'd credit him to giving me all the knowledge I had of shooting ducks in the woods. Because anytime I had questions, once I got old enough to drive and go by myself, I'd call Reese. And then again with the dogs, I mean, it struck a fire in my butt that I had to have me one. And then from there on out, I started setting out and I wanted to find one. And eventually, when I was that age, I bought me a dog off of one of my uncle's litters. Got so busy with baseball, I got lost in the shuffle. So she's a couch dog. But, that's really where the love transpired from. It was my uncle and then those guys that I hunted with out there.
Man, it's just one of the things we talk about all the time is like, for people that are wanting to get into it, I think that's a lot of what the debate is nowadays. It's like, oh, there's too many duck hunters. Well, statistically, the duck hunting population keeps going down. It's just that we're concentrated in certain areas because we keep losing access to areas. But, I think so many people are getting into it and have no frame of reference to like learn stuff. And I've always felt really fortunate with deer hunting. We've talked about this a lot, and just with my family, and you pick up things, and I call it like your hunter toolbox. Like I know the body language of a deer. I know how they're acting, and like I know when maybe I shouldn't take a shot because they're really nervous, and things like that. And and this
you need to come train dogs is what you need to do. Hell with deer hunting. If you can tell that about a deer, you need to come train a dog.
Well, and that's where I'm getting at with this thing. Not necessarily dogs, but it's funny you bring that up. It's no different with ducks, and you learning that from that older gentleman and learning how to hunt ducks in the woods, and it's having that older person to kind of just teach you these things. It's like, or just having the access to spend the time to learn them on your own. It's so hard for just the average person at 20, any age, honestly, to get into it and just pick these things up on your own, and that's kind of the passion behind what we do. But it's a challenge to get into any type of hunting without having like a person to kind of teach you these things, because I don't care what you read or what you watch on YouTube, nobody's gonna teach you how to call a duck like that old gentleman that you hunted with, or nobody's gonna teach you how to freaking grunt that buck in when he's chasing a doe, or whatever it might be, or that turkey. It's just there's such a steep learning curve to hunting that I think everybody as a hunter kind of should share the responsibility to kind of just like always take it upon themselves to bring somebody else into it.
Well, yeah, for sure. I understand that, but also don't ever get away from the fact of the animal you're dealing with, or whatever it may be, the person you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
They teach you more about anything than anybody else could ever tell you about them.
100%.
And I'll live by this. No dog trainer will ever be the best he could ever be, because he will never be able to stand over as enough dogs as that'll take.
Stand over what now?
Stand over enough dogs.
Right.
You'll never be able to stand over the amount of dogs it would take to be the best trainer you could ever be. You'll never do it.
That's good tip, man. I mean, it's true. It's just you don't have enough time, right?
Exactly.
Hey,
there's so much, man. These worlds change. Everything changes day to day. You just go and be the best you can be every single time in this, and it's the same deal with hunting. You got to let everything around you teach what you need to know. That old man, he could teach me everything I want to know about how a duck works with the wind, and when to call at them, and when to make them do this and when to make them do that. But he can't teach me what that duck can teach me.
Right. That's a good point.
Let me ask you this, and I know that everybody's going to have a different opinion of this, but like, if you're the average guy like me, all right, I'm looking to score on this opportunity. Okay, if
swing away, bud.
If you're the guy that don't know shit about dogs, let me ask you this: if I'm trying to select a puppy, I go to somebody, and dude, I know we can do DNA testing, and all this stuff that we can get now. Let's just go past all that. If roots and basic mechanics, if I'm looking for a dog, what are some like basic things that you look for in a dog that you would consider, hey, this is a good trainable dog?
Are we talking selecting a puppy?
Yes. Like
Right.
I've seen people like set up little obstacle courses and things like that. I mean, is there anything you can share? I don't want to give away any secrets, of course, but what are some?
I mean, the best thing, the things that only thing I'm really hell bent on selecting puppies is I want to see.
Are you watching these things from the time they suck a titty? I mean, really, like, he don't suck a titty as much as that one does. I want that one. I mean, dead serious though, really.
No. So really and truly, if you're the breeder, you're around the litter a lot, you'll be able to pick up on that pretty quickly. But as far as like, if you're swinging in and you're like, all right, I'm going to go pick out a pup today, he'll be ready to pick up in 2 weeks. The things I really look for, and it's kind of, I don't know. Sometimes you just know when you know, but the things I look for is personality. What kind of personality does the dog have? Is it sitting over in the corner? Is it being by itself? Is it real lonely? Probably don't want him.
Yeah.
Is it sitting over here crawling and chewing at the freaking food bag and just making a mess, barking, pissing everywhere? He's probably going to be a little bit of a troublemaker. I might not want him.
Yeah.
This one here is showing me enough attention. He's interested in what I have. So you have a ball, a rope, or anything. They're attentive. Their attitude is up. They have a prey drive. It's all about personality. It's just like if you were to pick a woman out. Say you went to on The Bachelor.
This is who I'm looking to breed with.
Exactly. There you go. I'm going on The Bachelor. I got to pick through my women. You're going to go for, all right, cool. She slept with me. Sweet. Whatever. But which one can you live with? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right.
Which one can you live with? And that's really what it comes down to. Check personalities. And people say sometimes puppies don't have personality. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. They're full of personality and piss and vinegar at that age.
I mean, I don't know shit about dogs, but I believe that. I mean, every animal that I've had, whether it be a cat or a dog, they all have their unique personality, their unique thing, whatever it is, you know what I mean? And it's species variant too. I mean, my goodness, I've had, I'm not gonna harp on any species, but I've had some dogs where I'm just talking about regular family dogs where I'm like, my wife wants me to get this little ankle biter, and I get the thing, and I'm like, oh my God, this dog is dumb as a bag of rocks.
Yeah, you can't really pick those very well. If you're listening to this and you're going to pick out a Chi-Chi or something like that, just pick whichever one looks best to you.
Well, you know what's funny about that? So our buddy Adam, he said when he picks out a duck dog, he holds them up, and he wants one when he's holding them up that they're like going ape shit when he's holding them up. That was one of the tests he told me, and before he had told me
like they're squirrely.
Yeah, squirrely.
Yeah.
And I guess that's an indicator of having a drive or whatever. Well, my buddy Gavin was telling me about 6 months before that, he had heard that when you're picking out like a good family dog or whatever, you want to pick one up that's just like, when you pick it up, it's just chill.
Yeah.
I just thought it was funny that the two opposite ends of that spectrum.
But yeah, I think you break a good point, Tristan, is everybody's experience with their animal is in their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
All like folks like you're trying to mold that into the client.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like nobody takes, like, I've got Delta. Let's just use Delta, for example. She has 4 puppies, right? And let's say we'll just call each puppy 1, 2, 3, 4. And every one of them are different by their number, by their personality, right? That you can't say that dog number 1 didn't meet my expectations, so dog number 4 is not going to meet somebody else's. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because
I pick puppies differently. Like, you guys aren't going to want something that's full of piss and vinegar all the time. You're going to want something that's going to hunt. Now, if you bring it and you want to go run the high stakes and play the game a little bit, you're going to want to, because that dog is going to train 200 days out of the year.
Yeah.
If not more. 250 days out of the year, he's going to be running. He's going to be doing what he wants to do. Pick out a priority that you want your dog to be from. Look for that. Now, I'm not telling you to go get something backyard that you just want a meat dog. I hear that all the time. I want a meat dog.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
Okay, so what is a meat dog? Can you define a meat dog for me?
Nope.
You can't.
No.
You can't. Some guys say just a meat dog could be
to
a
me,
dog.
a meat dog means that it's a dog that I can't love outside of hunt season. It's just
right.
You know what I mean? I mean, that's what it is to me.
Some people just want one of those that kicks up in the house and goes and picks up 2 or 3 birds. That's a meat dog to some people, and then some people consider a meat dog just to be just the standard quality of a master hunter, but just not run tests. That's still his meat dog. There's no exact meat dog. The meat dog thing gets me, because some guys that'll buy some really nice stuff. And I'm not singling anything out here. I'm not singling anybody out. But they'll buy really nice stuff and they'll just hunt it. They'll let them sit up in the house and they'll just hunt them here and there and they'll do their training, their stuff. That's a disservice to that animal.
Right.
Now there's some people that will get those big show Englishes, and I'm not hating on the show Englishes. I've seen some of them do some really nice work, but typically they're not fast. They don't want to go a whole ton. They're not the ones that are your go-getters to hunt. And then those come to the kennel and they're like, okay, we want this to be a master hunter. You have to know and pick where you have to do the shopping and really look into what you're wanting and talk to your local, anybody that knows some good stuff about the dog that you're looking for. Talk to them. They can help you figure this stuff out. And then from there, you're just checking the personality that you want.
Right. You can't create an outfielder out of a pitcher. You know?
Right, exactly. I mean, and look, listen. Please do not think that I'm saying that every top-notch dog you look at throws nice puppies. Because not every pairs right to throw very nice puppies. They just don't.
Right.
There are some dogs that are bred out of the backyard that can throw a freaking hammer. Right. He'll be a national dog in 4 years. There's no it hits and misses, but
isn't it the way we are as socially as people though too? I mean, in some kind of way.
But the whole deal about the pedigree deal. Pedigrees, sometimes even the high ones can have duds. Your misses are a lot less likely to happen when you buy those nice pedigree searched over dogs that have what you're looking for. You may not want to run them in the test. That's fine. Okay. But get something that's going to stand up to your standards. Don't cheap out on the pup saying, I just want a meat dog.
Right.
Is what I'm getting down to.
Right.
I'm not saying, and again, I'm not saying that good dogs don't have bad pups. Sometimes they do. I'm not saying bad dogs don't have good pups, because sometimes they will.
They all have personalities.
Exactly. And the likelihood of getting those dogs, if you do your research, is very low.
So kind of to tie into all that, one of the questions we had tonight from a listener was from Trace Kelly here in Georgia. And his question was, are golden retrievers any good for duck dogs, or are labs the way to go? And what I would piggyback off that is there any other species that, even from your opinion, obviously labs are the king of waterfowl hunting, but is there another species that kind of holds that's decent, and
underrated or whatever?
Yeah. I mean, labs are king, but here's our golden's good. The right ones, yes. Okay, that they are good, and I'm not saying that. Again, you don't have to have the top tier stuff to do what fits you. And there's some golden.
Bro, I saw a guy that had a German Shepherd that was so good at listening to commands. He took him out on a duck hunt with us and retrieved birds, bro.
What was this now?
A German Shepherd.
I've seen German Shepherds duck hunt. It's pretty funny.
Dude, but the point is that the dog could take direction, right? It was just a very intelligent dog. And in this instance, a very rare instance, he could go out and send him to retrieve and all that stuff. But that's not atypical.
Right. But to answer the question, yes, golden retrievers are good duck dogs. And here, the main thing that I tell people a lot of times, if it has retriever in the name, it can do the job.
Oh, fair enough.
Okay. We get away, and there are some very nice spaniels. I'm very lucky. I've got a very nice Boykin in my kennel. He's a little hammer. But those, again, you don't get very many good Boykins, and that's why they're so few and far between, and they're expensive when you come across them. That's why you can still find pretty good labs for very fair prices.
Now, do you? I'm gonna stop you. Is there a color association?
Right, because there's the debate, like
Black lab.
Yeah, that's what they say.
And dude, I've got Ike on this brown lab, but I don't want to let my personal feelings get in the way.
Black is king.
Black is king. That's what I've heard.
Black is king, hands down.
And that even goes all the way to the roots, right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, I'm pretty sure I could be wrong on this. Okay? I'm pretty sure, but I could be wrong on this. When we were in war overseas with Iraq, Afghanistan, and IEDs were starting to become very popular, there were a lot of dog trainers that were training bomb detection dogs.
Black labs.
Tony,
dude,
don't hold
dude, you're right, because I'm a veteran. Dude, you're right. Absolutely. 100% right.
The military would only sign the contract on black American
Dude, I totally
retrievers.
100%. 100% I will back that. 100%.
Yes, that is the contract. That tells you from there. The science is there. Now, I'm not here's the thing about it though. It's so predominant, it's easy to get good ones.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
The chocolate is not as predominant. That's why it's harder to get good chocolates.
Gotcha.
Yellows, you will get good, very good yellows. You can get dud yellows. You can get dud blacks, man. But
right.
it's just so the gene pool is what I'm trying to get up here. It is so big that it's just
what
you have more opportunities to get good ones out of the box.
Now I'm gonna throw you another curveball, because now you've got me, because this is where my original roots were, and then I got pulled away, and now I'm getting pulled back. Chessies, are they just too damn stubborn, or does it take a very good owner?
So, from what I've gathered from the Chessies, I don't deal with Chessies. We don't have a lot of them in South Carolina.
Okay.
Ian, on the other hand, sitting over here, I could ask him that question, but I think he's tied up on the phone with his wife. So we're gonna let him sit.
We don't want to interrupt that.
I'm gonna tell you that from what I gather, from what I get from him off the Chessies, they're a lot like the Boykins. They're very temperamental.
Very.
You get 50-50. Now, I don't think they're as bad as Boykins as it comes to getting in the water, because they are the retriever. And I think water attitudes with them are a lot better than you get the 50-50 Boykins. But, yes, they are stubborn. They're hard-headed. They're temperamental. But, now don't get me wrong. I've seen those dogs master national dogs, too. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of qualified all-age Chessies. I'm pretty positive.
Wow.
Like a handful or two. But yeah, I mean, they're not bad dogs. They're just they're quirky. They have their.
What I've heard is that you better be prepared to work this dog as much as it loves to work. And if you can't give them that, if you can't like the way I've kind of read with this other guy was talking about, like, if you can't be as obsessive as this dog is, then you're doing a disjustice, and don't even try to play with a Chessie.
Here's what I want you to do. I want you to find one person that you know that is not a fan of Labrador Retrievers.
I don't know one.
If you can find one, ask them why. I guarantee you the answer is we had one and it tore everything up in the house.
Bro, that's what I had. I had Rico. He was a black lab. I bought him in Virginia I was not even duck hunting. And I was like, that cute son of a bitch, I'm getting him. And he ripped the bottom of my bathroom door off. But the cutest thing was he would make piles of sticks in my yards.
Yeah. And you know why? You know why, Tony?
Because I was keeping him from being who he wanted to be.
He had a job. That was his
job. That's
right.
And I sucked.
They're working dogs. That's why the people that don't like labs never had a job with them. And that's why they tear shit up and they're rambunctious.
Yeah.
These dogs are meant to have jobs, man.
Right.
one thing I just recently the other day, I went on my first upland bird hunt. It was quail hunting here in Georgia. And one thing I thought was really interesting is this guy, the guide at this preserve, he had a 3-dog team, right? So he would run 2 German short-haired pointers, and he would use a black lab to flush them, and the black lab would retrieve. And it was really cool because the freaking pointers would, smell the quail, get on it, and then he would say, all right, flush them up. And the black lab would jump up like one of them foxes that like jumps in the snow to get the mice.
Right.
And it would flush up that quail.
Dude, I feel like every duck hunter is having anxiety right now. They're like, how do you control 3 dogs at one time?
So it was the coolest shit ever because, and then that black lab would go retrieve it or whatever. But it was cool as shit watching them because I've only known black labs as duck dogs, but it was cool to see it operate in that upland environment. But the only other thing I'd add to that, I thought upland duck hunting upland bird hunting was a great new hunter thing to do, but you do have to be conscious. Like there's 3 dogs here, you got to be a little bit careful on the gun. But
absolutely. And see what I'm pretty sure. So I'm not a bird dog guy. I couldn't tell you the first thing about how bird dog hunt tests worked.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say I'm almost positive on master hunter for a bird dog, they have to be steel to flush. So from what you just told me, those were some pretty top-notch bird dogs you were hunting over top of, and that lab was pretty top-notch. So whoever that is, tip your cap to that guy because those are pretty damn good trained dogs right there.
Well,
just from hearing about it over the phone.
Well, the only thing I know about is this place has been basically is my wife's manager at her company, and he wanted to bring her hunting or whatever, and I just told Katie, I was like, if you're going upland bird hunting, I've never been, I just want to go and take videos and take pictures or whatever. So, and I was thinking it was going to be like a work expense, and I didn't want the company to spend anything on me, I just want to go and just take pictures. And long story short, this gentleman that's her manager, 71, he's been a part of this hunt club for years. It's been in Georgia for 50 years, since 1972 or something, 52 years. And I guess it's just one of those deals. It's the kind of deal where you can bring people, like you can get guided hunts at, but it's almost like there's so many members, it's almost just a private hunt club, And he pays like $5,000 a year and gets X amount of birds, and the guide actually trains his dogs as well. So he's got like a $10,000 German short-haired pointer and all this shit. But it was really neat, man. I had no idea about any of that. It's a whole other thing that I'm like, I don't even have the money to duck hunt the way I want to, let alone get into that.
Oh, bud, let me tell you something. You better be ready when you step off in the dog world. You thought ducks for something. But man, I'll tell you one thing. I've gotten a bunch of local clients, and I've got a bunch of out of town clients. Actually, one of my I've got clients from in town, man, that had never really had labs growing up, and they finally got them to where they would work and do their own thing. And he said, I'm not going to call his name, but I can remember one of them quoting. I can quote him right now. He looked at me dead in my eyes. He said, I told my wife I'd never have another one of these aggravating bitches. He said, but this one right here is probably one of the best dogs I've ever seen.
Wow.
I said, that was like a month after he dropped him off. So it wasn't anything I did. I told him, I said, I haven't, like, all it's doing is sitting and like doing it still on a leash and off lead right now. Like it's collar conditioned, but he goes, oh, no, I'm not talking about that. He said, but she hasn't chewed a thing, nothing, because he kept her working. He gave her a job. And that just kind of all comes back down to it. But seriously, I do want y'all to find one person that does not like a lab and ask them a question. Do it before you air this, so they can't get the freaking answer of it.
Right.
I'm telling you, I swear to you, it's the same answer every time. Every time.
Well, we had a guy on last week, man, that his name on Instagram is The Hunting Traveler. His name's Chris Majette, and he's more in the upland kind of duck hunting, but I keep saying upland hunting, and we were talking to him a good bit about Boykins because that's what he's passionate a bit about, and started talking about Boykins and the duck hunting space and things like that. But one of the things he came back on is with these dogs, even with Boykins, he's like, they got to have a job, like even with them, people get them just thinking they're going to be house dogs, and it ain't going to work out good for you if they're just house dogs.
Yeah. You want a history lesson real quick before we get off?
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what Boykins were originally bred for?
He may
We
have,
should know this.
I feel like
We
he
just had a
told us.
podcast on
I know,
this.
we were just talking. That's why I brought it up. I think we talked about, I don't know, tell us.
Turkey dogs.
No, didn't
No,
talk
he
about
didn't say that. I mean, we didn't ask the questions. I don't want to do him discredit.
Yeah. Turkey.
They were bred here in South Carolina, in Boykin, South Carolina.
No,
Turkey.
he might have said that,
Yeah,
actually.
but he said how recent they had just became a species.
No, I think now that I think about it, he did say
it's
something
new.
about turkey.
Yeah, their bloodlines are so defined recently that it's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty new, but they were bred originally for turkey flush dogs.
Yes, yeah, he did say that.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
that leads to the dock tail. They would put them under burlap so their tail wouldn't wag.
That's
lead.
what
Yep,
it was.
Yep, that's exactly
he said
what
that.
it was.
They
He
got
did.
mad about how it was making noise.
Yeah, cause
Exactly. So now what we're trying to do now is we're trying to take turkey flush dogs and turn them into master hunters, and that's where you get the tight line Boykins, and that's where the Boykins get so everybody's like, "Oh, stay away from the Boykins, stay away from the Boykins."
All right, but here's what I want to know: can you give me a dock jumping lab?
A dock jumping lab?
I want ones on ESPN.
So, all right. So listen to this. This is no bullshit, Tony. This is no bullshit. Okay.
Really?
One of the boys that works for me. Okay, and I say he works for me. He doesn't work.
You know
for
about
me.
this,
He comes,
Tristan?
helps out a lot.
There's
I've seen it. Yeah,
Yeah, there's a championship for this, right?
Right.
That's the SRS.
SRS, okay.
That's SRS. That's SRS dock diving
And
crown.
every dog I've seen doing it, like a majority have been black labs, by the way.
Now, that's what I'm getting at. So I met somebody through my girlfriend. They're friends with their family, whatever. Well, their in-laws or somebody, I can't remember how the hell I got down the rabbit hole. Anyway, they were dock diving people. Well, the boy that helps me out a lot, he's a first responder. He's a firefighter. Well, he's always wanted a Malinois. Well, these people were dock diving Malinois.
What?
And I told him, I said, the only way you're having a dock diving dog at this kennel is if it's a Malinois. I said, that's the only way you're having a Malinois at this kennel is if it's a dock diving dog.
Yeah.
And he said, well, all right, well, I'll build me a separate kennel. I said, that would be ideal. And I will have a dock diving dog. Needless to say,
We will have
not gotten
segregation.
the dock diving dog. Do what now?
No, I said we will have segregation.
Yeah, well, he hadn't gotten the dock diving dog yet, so I don't think we're going to be doing any dock diving.
I see. I see.
Well,
so that's just a bunch of fluffy bull junk.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
You need to. I tell you what you need.
That ain't no
Tony,
meat.
I tell you what
hey,
you need.
hey, you know what? That ain't no meat, dog.
No, I tell you what you need, Tony. You need to get you a black female and put her up here with me until she is qualified all age and master national. That's what you need to do. You need to stay away from that dock diving.
Listen, there's a lot of things my wife tells me I need to do, and I don't do a damn thing of them. And she,
well, you've out of this podcast tonight, you've seen the recipe to success, and it's
bro,
it's very well laid out.
it is. I just know this: that when I find Ike, I will know. I will know. I'll be like, this is
It
the
sounds
dog.
like you know the guy to send him to, too.
Yeah. Well,
There you go.
I know Colin.
These dogs are going crazy.
Colin's getting paid a commission off this shit somewhere, but anyway, because he's done nothing but just speak love of you, and I tell you, man, I love Delta, dude. Tristan does too. We love her, dude. I mean, we don't even get to experience this dog every day, and when you see her
I love her, dude.
Well,
I love her.
I think
She's a sweetheart.
part of what we love about her is, you get these big block-headed labs that are badasses, but Delta doesn't. She's very just like, her demeanor and how she looks is very like kind of sweet,
And it's a little deceiving. If you're looking at her, you're like,
she actually is a badass.
then you're like, all right, 55, 60-pound dog over there carrying a Boone and Crockett freaking spec.
Yeah.
Bring it in, baby. And her neck doesn't strain.
No. Well, man, listen, we know you got stuff to do, and we appreciate you coming
We
on
hear the
tonight.
dogs barking.
Yeah, and honestly, I think one of the cool things about the podcast tonight is we've heard the sounds of South Carolina and heard the dogs in the back.
I do. We've been hearing the frogs peep and the dogs barking and everything.
I want you to tell everybody before we get off here tonight, where they can get in touch with you, and just plug your business, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. So you guys look us up. We're on Facebook and Instagram, Mill Creek Retrievers. We do have TikTok. I do not know how long we're going to have that.
Right.
Apparently, whenever you get new phones, it doesn't download.
Right.
And let me tell you, if you saw the back of my phone right now, you'd probably laugh. But yeah, check us out there. If anybody needs to get a hold of me, 843-858-4222. That's my personal cell. Call that anytime between the hours of about 8 and 5, and I'll get back to you pretty quick. But yeah, if you have any questions, any comments that you may not want to call or text, just shoot us a message on either one of the platforms, social media wise, and we'll get back to you as soon as I can. Everything's run by me, so give me a little bit of time. I am training and trying to run all social media, so it gets rough and hectic. So, but anytime anybody never needs anything dog-wise, questions, if you're looking for a puppy, give me a call. If you're looking for a trainer, absolutely give me a call. If I'm not around you and you may not want to come this far, we're plugged in with pretty much a very good source all around the country, and I will only recommend you to somebody that I would trust to have my dog if it's not us.
Well, brother, I can promise you this. It's a soul feel. You will provide Ike. you will, dude. Whether it's through you recommendations, dude, it's gonna happen, and I'm so excited about.
I'm
this.
making you drive all the way up here to see me,
bro. I will. We're not that far away from South Carolina.
Well, you said Hartwell, right? How far? Hartsville. How far is that? 2.5 from Atlanta? Let me see here.
Well, if I don't have dogs and I just have my John boat going west, it's normally about 3 if you drive it right. If you drive it like the same person, probably 4.
That ain't nothing, but man, I want you to be thinking about Ike. I want Ike to be on your mind, and I don't know.
Are you seriously looking? Are you ready,
bro? I swear to God, I'm looking. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm
thinking of Lake Hartwell. That's why I'm thinking.
I can be a female or male. I don't care. I mean, and it's just it's a search for Ike. And
I'll tell you what, Tony, get my number, text me tonight or tomorrow, and I will get back to you tomorrow for sure. And I need to talk to you about this. You serious about getting?
Yeah, no,
I
will
will hook you up.
I'm dead serious. Quickly.
Okay, I will hook you up.
All right, brother.
Get with me either tonight or tomorrow. And if y'all are still listening to this point, I hope you ain't turned it off.
No, we haven't.
Good on podcast. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Anyway, if you do hear that, it is literally pretty much that quick. I mean, if you're in a hurry, call me. If I can't get something, we can get something lined up for you.
I'm ready to start a journey with my next. I mean, I'm putting more gratitude, I guess it would be the word, into this next animal than I've ever had. And it's just, there's a purpose, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm going to mark him a hole on the truck, IKE. I'm going to put it right there on the top back hole, and I'm going to wait for him.
All right. And you'll know when you got him. And I trust in that. So.
Well, good deal, man. Well, it was good talking to y'all. I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yes, sir.
Anytime, give me a call. Well, we need to get together. It's been too long. For sure.
Yep. I can't wait to meet you and cry when I take the puppy.
Well, me to you sober this time.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. Yeah.
No, but I mean, I was like, this is him.
So y'all are really gonna get a kick out of this. I'm sitting here. The guys that are staying here for the winter trip, they just got their personal dogs out their truck.
Uh-huh.
I'm looking at a big Walker hound come out of the woods from behind my house. They just got done coon hunting back there. So.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
We've got Grand Night champions and master hunters all around this place. So
That's awesome. All right, buddy.
All right,
we
man.
appreciate you, man. We can't wait to have you back on to dive down some of these rabbit holes we didn't have time to tonight.
absolutely, give me a call, man. We'll get it going.
All right, brother.
Sounds good, man. Have a good night.
Y'all have a good one. Bye, later.
Bye.
I've been southbound, I've been hellbound, riding on the midnight train. Going too fast now, think I'll slow down, standing in the pouring rain.